Hi everyone, this video is the first video in the series taking a look at a 16-week course going through all elements of functional skills. Now this course is going to be aimed to help you to develop the key skills needed to pass your assessments in reading, writing and speaking and listening. Now the actual one we're uploading now, this is just going to be the light version covering some of the key parts. If you do want the full course, it will become available. Do give us a comment below and we'll get back to you as well. Now if you haven't done so already, please can you like and subscribe, it really does help us out when you do so. Look at the images. How might they link to functional skills English? Then what I'd like to do is think about what is the actual purpose of functional skills? Other than the fact that it is there to help you pass an exam, what is the actual purpose? What kind of skills do they need to develop? And how will they help us in life as a whole? Okay, moving on, we're going to have some class feedback, so check your understanding against the answers below. So the ones that I've came up with is the images relate to employment, reading, writing and further education. The purpose of the course is to help you develop key skills for life. Specifically, these skills are broken down into three categories: reading, writing and speaking and listening. So these are the fundamental elements that you will be studying throughout the course, and these are real things that are integral to further life really, in terms of employment, education and just communicating in the broader world. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to understand the key elements of the functional skills course, apply your understanding to the course roadmap, and evaluate a text to understand audience, purpose and form. Course overview. What will I study? What will I be assessed on? So first of all then, during the course you'll study a variety of different forms of writing. We will look at being able to select and comprehend key information from texts. We will look to develop skills in spelling, grammar and punctuation, and how to write and communicate for personal and academic success. Now in terms of our assessment, this is something that people get confused about quite a bit, so it's important that we go through this carefully. So during your assessments, you'll be assessed on three separate components. So first of all, we have the reading assessment. This is often the one that a lot of teachers start with because it's one of the things that you probably do day in, day out. Can you read, understand and select key information from one or more text? The next one, writing. Can you write in a clear, coherent manner, and do you use language, structure, spelling, grammar and punctuation effectively? And finally, speaking and listening. Can you communicate effectively? Can you present your own ideas and contribute to the thoughts or the ideas of others? So a key thing to point out when you think about each one of these assessments, when you're looking at functional skills level 1, level 2 and entry level, each of these are separate assessments, but it doesn't mean that once you've completed one that you'll get the certificate. You have to complete all three components in order to receive your certificate and also to actually move up to the next level within your course. Tracking your learning. Making sure you're making the most out of this course by using this guide. So this is what we call our course roadmap. It's also called our scheme of learning as well. So this document was designed to help you to access new lessons each week over the 16 weeks. It will help you to track and assess your progress right up until your final assessment. So if you're watching this as the actual video, then it'll be important to think about actually downloading it, because there'll be a link provided in the description below. And each one of these comes with each week broken down, the topic we'll be looking at, and also a QR code so you can access additional material and also the lessons like we're going through at the moment. If you think about this as the actual course as well, think about the teacher's top tip. So if you miss a lesson, then use this resource to catch up on anything you may have missed out on. It's also going to be really important when it comes to revision as well, because even though we might have covered a certain topic, it's not always that easy to remember and retain absolutely everything. So it's always important that you spend that time going back over and revising the things that you've studied. Look at the extracts and respond to the questions that follow. Alright mate, I've heard you're thinking about taking a year out and doing some travelling. I get it sounds really fun, but you need to think about your future, buddy. I understand that you've been working hard. You smashed your A-levels, so who wouldn't want to go a bit crazy? Look, I get it. However, take it from someone who's been around the block a bit. You need to carry on with your studies and leave the holiday and the stupid stuff to when you've finished uni. So what we've just gone through then, this is a typical text that we're going to use as an example to see if we can practice some of those key reading skills. That being, can you actually read information, select key bits of details, and actually use it to respond to certain questions. Quickfire questions. Complete the questions based on the extracts we've just read. So if you do want to pause the video here, go back and have a look at the extracts, please feel free to do so. But now we're just going to talk through the questions in more detail. So number 1, what is the purpose of the writing? So why is the actual writer put pen to paper? What has made them actually write in the first place? Number 2, what form is the writing in? So if you're not too sure what we mean about this, we mean, is it something like an article, a leaflet, a blog, a speech, anything like that really? If you're not too sure about that, that's fine. That's what we're going to be looking at in a few more lessons time as well. Number 3, is the writing formal or informal? Select a quotation to support your view. Now this is quite a typical question that you'd get within the actual reading assessment. It's going to be one of those questions that's actually worth a few more marks, and the reason why is because they're asking you to select a quote. Now if you're not sure what we mean by this, by selecting a quote, this is when you write word for word what is in the text, and you also use quotation marks around it. It's a really good thing to do to support your view or your opinion on something. Number 4, what is meant by the term being around the block a bit? And number 5, last one, look at the line, who wouldn't want to go a bit crazy? What language technique has been used here? Now if you want to pause the video and go through it at your own time, please feel free to do so. We're now going to jump ahead and start looking through the answers in the next part of the video. Class feedback. Check your understanding against the answers below. So then for number 1, what is the purpose of the writing? The purpose of the writing is to persuade. They're trying to persuade the person not to go off and travel and actually to focus on their education. Number 2, what form is the writing in? So the writing has been produced in the form of an email. Number 3, is the writing formal or informal? The writing is informal. We know this because it begins, "All right, mate." Now, there's several other quotations you could have used. The important thing is that when we say something that is informal, we mean something that sounds more conversational. Number 4, what is meant by the term being around the block a bit? Now this is quite an interesting expression. We actually call this an idiom. So it's a typical kind of British expression. Maybe you haven't heard of it. It is a little bit outdated now. But what we mean by it is, been around the block a bit is an expression that means someone who's experienced a lot of things. And number 5, look at the line, who wouldn't want to go a bit crazy? What language technique has been used here? The writer has used a rhetorical question when he says, who wouldn't want to go a bit crazy? So hopefully you found that fairly straightforward. Again, these are just typical kind of warm-up questions, quite similar to some of the lower level questions you're going to get on the reading assessment. What I'd like you to do is just stretch and challenge yourself and think, what is a rhetorical question and what purpose does it actually have in our writing? Next lesson. So what are we going to study? So next week, this following video is going to be uploaded and it's going to be on the different purposes of writing. Now specifically, we're going to look at things like, why have people actually put pen to paper? The main reasons would be to inform, persuade, or to advise. Again, that will be uploaded next week. If you look at the study guide as well, a link to that will be provided there in case you do want to catch it and go through it in more detail. If you need any additional support or help, the new videos will be added every single week. Alternatively, leave us a comment below or visit our partner channel Bookworm Teaching for more lessons and guidance on all things English. Thanks ever so much for listening guys, and all the best with your work and revision in the future. Bye bye.